Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Oh, let me get up here so I can talk to you. Jason, Long Bottom Farm, part-time farmer. And we are today going to talk about when things don't go so right on the farm. Any of you farming, homesteading know that there's always a plan, there's a video, there's a guide, there's people that show us how to do things a certain way, and then there's reality. When you get to doing it, the things you don't think about, the unforeseen circumstances, just what can go wrong when you have a plan to make everything go right. Let's get into it. Real quick, we have a newsletter, the Sunday Solopreneur. This comes out every Sunday about 10 a.m. I talk about how to market your products on your farm, how to use social media and websites to grow your farm. I also talk about farming, raising cattle, chickens, pigs. We go through it all, and it's about building your farm business. Sign up now, and you also get a free PDF on how to use ChatGPT to write your social media, to write your newsletters, and to help write product descriptions for your products. This is free download for signing up for the newsletter. One newsletter every 1 to 2 weeks, no spam, I promise. Check it out. I think you'll get a lot of value in learning to grow your farm or homestead, and it's free. All right, back to the video. Today's gonna be more of a vlog style video. I wanted to talk to you guys today. You can see I am a total mess right now. We are moving. I've got my birds behind me. We've got 300 broilers down here on pasture, and we have had rain for the last 5 days. Some days an inch, a little bit more than an inch, probably close to 4 inches total. And it's one of those things now where the ground is just holding water, and we need the rain. Not denying that. Luckily, I've got the hay done. Unluckily, the hay bales are still sitting on the field, and because things are so muddy, I can't get over there to get them off the field. They would have set out anyways. I don't have covered shelters. We did plan on putting some tarps over them, but oh well, I digress. We're talking about really the birds today and the pain of moving these birds in this muck. As you can see, these pastures, these are river bottom pastures, and they are just filled with little divots, little just depressions that typically drain well, but when we have this much rain at one time, they don't. And as you can see, just huge standing areas of water. Not a big deal when we had our little tractors. We got our big tractors because we got to a scale where we needed these big guys just to do more birds, make it more manageable, less wear and tear on us. But these things aren't as maneuverable through these big swales and big water standing puddles that we have now. And the other thing is the birds. The birds will not cross those. We unfortunately, where the birds were at, had an area that had a depression in it, got some water in it. They had gotten to dry areas, but when we went to move the structure, they would not cross it. And we ended up with probably finally just go ahead and slowly pulling the structure forward, letting them squirt out the back. And we had probably about 50 chickens we had to just wrangle. That was disgusting in itself, because if you've ever wrangled a chicken, you know the first thing they're gonna do when you get close to them, start flapping their wings. They're muddy and they're wet, and they can flap in that mud and muck and poop. It is going everywhere. And a nightmare. So today's move was a little bit better. We had rain last night. Again, I think that was the 5th day. Not as much. After the first rain, we had got them off of that area, but we had set it up so that the next couple moves were at least on a elevated area. And we've been fortunate with that so far. Now I'm coming up to an area now where we have standing water again. Hopefully today's the last day of rain. Then we've got a number of sunny days coming, or dry days. Hopefully that's going to drain out, allowing us to go through those areas. I've got 7 more days till these guys go to the processor, and right now I am counting them down like it's nobody's business. I normally don't mind these birds, and this week has just been, when it's muddy like this, it kills you. It's the tractor's making mud, you're making mud, walking through mud, and it's just not fun. Not fun. I think to myself, I could be in there on a computer building websites. Is this worth it sometimes? And I always come back to yes. I don't want to complain or, pull it. But there are these times that really make you question what you're doing, why you're doing it. This is important for our family. The food's important. The birds, they're actually very comfortable. They're not panting. They're cool. And that's actually been a good thing, if any of this has been good, is that, there's days it gets so hot out here that they don't want to move because they're panting and stuff so hard. And I'm scared to move them because I don't want them to have heart attacks. So we actually have to spray them down with hoses. So all the birds are comfortable. You can kind of see some of them back here now. They're bedded down into the grass, and they're just chilling. They're actually eating some of the grass, which is nice. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about, was just the mud and the muck. Now I want to talk about just planning. There's always what you plan to do, and there's what the weather and environment and predators and people and everything else dictate what you're going to do. A plan is just a plan. That's why there's a such thing as a plan B, because a lot of times plan A just doesn't go like you want. We got them down here on these pastures. Our plan was just to move them across the pastures, fertilize the pastures, wide open space, and then when the mud hits, well, that wide open space now is not so wide open because you're navigating water areas. You are navigating muddy areas. And so it's something, if you're raising cattle, if you're raising pigs, egg layers, horses, you got to decide, you got to take that into account. Go with your plan, but know if you're just getting started that it's not always going to go to plan. That's one thing to hear me say it. It's another thing to me, like sitting out here covered in mud. You know, when you experience it, you still have responsibilities to your family. You may have off-farm job. You may have people waiting to pick up orders. We just got beef back. I need to be up there putting together shares and getting that ready. These chores are taking, you know, I've spent an extra hour down here just because I've had to go different paths. Because of that, I've had to move the fences. I've had to go much slower. I've had to wrangle birds, and it's just been a mess. So it's something you need to be prepared for. If you're homesteading or farming or anything, is that a plan is just that. It's a plan. You have to be prepared that that might not go to plan. So always try to think of alternatives. You can't be prepared for everything. And I'm not saying be this paranoid person that constantly worries about everything, but at the same time, you want to be prepared. You want to just not get into a situation where doing what you love becomes a stressful, I hate this, why am I doing this? Why did I decide to do this? You know, planning can help with that. Right now, we're in mud. It's just a lot of mud, and I didn't even plan on where these birds are at now. We had a perfect area where we were going that sets it up easy for me to, we're going to the processor in, like I say, five or 6 days, and I could easily load them, and you know, that plan's already gone. I have to take them another way because of the water. The area that we're at means extra fencing, and I've got to now think about where I'm gonna put the cattle because that changes a little bit, and whew, just a lot. So just something to take into account. Think about when you're farming that planning is just that, a plan, and always try to have a plan B. Always when you're doing something, think of what could go wrong in this situation and how would I address it. Again, don't be a worrywart, don't stress yourself out. That'll just make you a better farmer, and when these things do happen, you'll be somewhat more prepared to deal with them. All right, now that we've talked about that, another thing you got to consider is safety of the animals, the health of the animals. You know, when you get this much rain, it really changes the dynamic. My cattle, we've got these perfect waters right here, feeding perfectly clear spring water, same water we drink. They will literally go not to the water, but literally the mud puddle that's sitting beside the water and drink out of it. And part of that's my fault. I need to put rocks in that depression. I need to build that up so that water's not pooling there. But you know, your animals really don't care. They're just gonna do what they're gonna do, and you gotta be prepared for that. If you're planning any enterprise, chickens, cattle, pigs, you have to think about the health of those animals and what is gonna happen, say it rains for a bunch of days. What's that gonna mean for you? What's that gonna mean for your animals? Are your shelters big enough to weather a storm? If you get a storm, you gotta anchor them down, cinder blocks, bricks, spikes. How are you gonna keep them in place? If you're in flood prone areas, is this a type of season where you get a lot of floods? You may wanna put the animals somewhere because they're gonna fertilize the pasture, and it's a dual benefit, which we love to do, but at the same time, if it's a certain time of year, it may not be the wisest choice to put them there. Just the health of your animals. You really got to take extra care, pay extra attention, and be prepared to take a hit every now and then. You know, farming is sometimes hard to make a profit, and this is why. These birds are doing great right now, but they are staying in a lot of wet areas that I don't like. We have shelters on them, but again, when we get so much rain as we've had, water runs in, water goes sideways. We had this weird misting rain. It just literally did it all day yesterday, and it wasn't a lot, but it was enough that the rain's kind of just floating sideways, and the birds are just staying wet. And it's good for them to get wet some. You know, it cools them off, keeps them from panting. These birds are 7 weeks now, and if any of you raise broilers, you know that 7 to 8 weeks can be a dangerous area for these birds because they're heart attacks, leg problems. So it's that balance of, yeah, I'm glad they're staying cool, but at the same time, if they're constantly in wet, that's just a breeding ground for infections. These birds can be dumb as well. We've got clean water we do every day, and they will just drink out of a mud puddle. Just the health of your animals. Just keep a closer eye. Think about when you're getting animals, you know a good vet. Think about where you're putting them, what could go wrong, whether that be rain. Just try to prepare for as much as you can because, you know, we want to be good stewards, good animal husbandry, and take care of our animals. And so we need to try to almost treat them like toddlers. You know, we're putting little plug protectors over the covers, and we're putting gates up, and you got to think about that with your animals sometimes, that out here in the elements, things can change on a dime. You never know what's going to happen. So try to anticipate some of that stuff, and hopefully that stuff doesn't happen, but if it does happen, you're just a little more prepared to deal with it. Lastly, I'm going to talk about mindset. That is probably the biggest thing with farming, with anything, with life. You know, if you don't have a good mindset, if you can't be prepared for when those challenges and bad things happen, then it makes that experience just that much more worse. Not to say it's not fun. Like I say, I'm covered in sweat of probably, you know, is this mud or poop? I don't know. You know, it's just, you got to have a mindset that, okay, it's there. What am I going to do? Get mad about it? And then I'm mad and I'm covered in poop. So it's not to say I don't get mad still sometimes and, you know, maybe verbally abuse my chickens at times, but it's part of it. You have to really think about it's going to happen, and when it's going to happen, how are you going to react to it? Like I say, sometimes you can't control this stuff. You can only control how you react to it. And sometimes it's just a matter of just, I zip my lip and I just do it. Just focus on doing it, get it done. The work needs doing. And, you know, getting mad, throwing things, I've been there. I'm not gonna say, I'm not lecturing you. I've been there myself and I've done it. And that's why I've sometimes had to go read about this stuff. It's something I've actually looked at, not reading about farming, but just mental health and mindset, that this stuff doesn't go right sometimes. And, you know, cattle get out, pigs don't load when you want them to. These chickens, we've had days where like 2 days before the processor, 10 of them die just up in the sun. You know, it's hot, just things happen. And right now we're dealing with rain and mud, and that makes chores doing hard. It also makes worrying about the health of the birds hard. It makes me just not want to do anything for the rest of the day, even though I've got 10 other things I've got to do. So really a mindset. Some things that can help with that. One, don't over stress yourself. It's very easy starting a farm. It's very easy when you've been doing this for 10 years to, that winter lull hits, and then you're doing some projects, but then you get excited for spring again. You get excited for the animals, and you're like, I'm gonna do this, 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 this. We're gonna bump it up this year. We're gonna, you know, make more money, increase production, and then you're like mid-June and you're hating yourself and nothing's getting done 100%. Everything's half-assed and you're just hanging on, and that's not fun. So that's part of mindset. One is just plan for the future. Don't overstress yourself. Don't overdo yourself. Again, you may need the money, you know, but at the same time, there's other costs besides money to your farm, you know, your mental health, your physical health. So one, don't overburden yourself. Two is just find a stress outlet. You know, this is fun. We enjoy the farming, but at the same time, it's stressful, it's tiring, and you got to have stress outlets that have nothing to do with farming or homesteading. Read a book. I collect comics, love the X-Men stuff. I play video games with my kids sometimes. We go on little vacations, not really a vacation, but we have this little place literally 25 minutes away. It's a old English Inn hotel, and we will just go there for a day or two. We'll get a farm sitter. It's cheap, it's like $75 a night, but they have an indoor pool, and it's a way just to get a break from, obviously I can't do it when it's this muddy and stuff like this, but it's a mental break. It allows me to take my mind off of farming for a bit, even though I'm still thinking about some things farming, but it rejuvenates me. I encourage, you know, everybody has their own way of dealing with that, you know, so find something that works for you. Not necessarily a vacation or books or, you know, meditating, deep breathing. There's lots of things, and different things work for everybody. You know, ChatGPT is a great resource. If you go into it and just say, hey, I'm a farmer, I am really stressed right now, farm's overwhelming, what are some ways I can get my mental health in check? What are some ways I can help feel better? And it'll give you a ton of ideas. You know, it's not a doctor. If things get that bad, obviously see someone, but it's a great resource. These are just some things I have done. I'm not saying these are right or wrong and these are what you should or shouldn't do, but these are things that I've done that have worked for me, and I'm just sharing it with you. So that's it for today. More of kind of a rant, and you know, just sometimes I know I show like, oh, this is how you raise pigs, this is how you make money on the farm, this is how you market your farm, but some days it's just about getting through the day and surviving your farm. You know, and this is one of those days. You know, the birds are muddy, I'm muddy and sweaty, but got this chore done for today. I know I don't have to worry about it till tomorrow, and the birds are healthy, they're looking good, and I feel good about that. So if you have questions, comments, got stories, share them below. I love to hear other stories. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone, it makes you feel better there. You know, not that you want anybody going through this, but to know that you're not the only one that it happens to, that it's just part of farming, it's part of life. So leave comments below, and next video will likely be, I don't know, I've got like 3 videos. Have you seen, I haven't posted many videos lately just because we've been so overwhelmed with the farm. With Homegrown Hosting, that's our website business for farmers. If you're interested and need a website, check down below. We've got a whole questionnaire, and I'll be glad to go talk to you about your farm and what we can do for you. But that's it. Like I say, things have just been a bit overwhelming, and sometimes when that happens, you got to cut certain things, and each one of these videos I do takes about 20 hours between filming, planning, filming. Editing is a huge part of it. That's why this video is not a whole lot edited, because I wanted to get something out there that I think will be valuable to you. At the same time, it's not going to have all the flashy words and sounds and all that stuff, because sometimes you just need to get the message out to you. And again, I'd love to hear from you, so leave some comments below. Otherwise, we've got some more videos coming up, chickens, selling beef, and I'm going to get into a whole lot more marketing videos. I think, you know, I can only do so many videos on how to raise layers, at least how we do it. I can only do so many videos on how we're doing our broilers, and we have a ton of them down if you just look at our video history on how we've built our structures, how we collect our eggs, how we wash our eggs. So I want to get into some marketing. I think that's super important, and I think it's something that those videos for me don't do as well traditionally, but at the same time, those are what will make you money. Those are the value. I don't offer courses, I don't sell courses. I put it all out here for free, and you know, I hope you take advantage of it. Again, I'm not a know-it-all, I don't know everything, but we've been doing this for 10 years and I've learned a lot of what to do and what not to do, and that's what I'm sharing. If you take that and then add it to your context and what you're getting from John Siskovich, Charlotte Smith, My Digital Farmer, Joel Salatin, you take those people and you take bits and pieces from them and you put it together in your context. There you go. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.